Deion Sanders roasts son Shilo in brutally honest rap video. While Shilo Sanders quietly navigates the most uncertain stretch of his young football life, caught in the limbo that defines NFL free agency for undrafted players, his father chose a dramatically different route to address the moment. One that was loud, theatrical, unapologetically brutal, and unmistakably Deion Sanders. In a raw, unscripted rap video that instantly ricocheted across social media, Coach Prime slipped back into his old rapper persona and aimed the spotlight directly at his son, delivering lines that felt less like playful ribbing and more like a ruthless reminder of legacy, hierarchy, and the weight of a famous last name. Deion didn't ease into it or soften the edges. He attacked the mic with the same bravado that once defined his Hall of Fame career, declaring ownership of the fame, the platform, and the narrative itself. "You known for me," he barked, asserting that Shilo's recognition traces back not to his own grind, but to the shadow of prime time. The bars kept cutting deeper, comparing his son to an outdated brand, mocking any attempt at independence, and reinforcing a message that has followed the Sanders family for years. Proximity to greatness is not the same as becoming it. Deion doubled down with lines soaked in self-mythology, reminding everyone that his legend didn't fade with time, that his presence still commands attention, and that even now, decades removed from his playing days, he remains the standard against which his sons are measured. It was harsh, theatrical, and uncomfortable, but also deeply revealing, capturing the complicated intersection of fatherhood, fame, motivation, and public performance that has always surrounded the Sanders household. This wasn't an isolated moment of musical nostalgia. Deion Sanders has never fully stepped away from the entertainment side of his identity, and just a year earlier, he revisited his 1994 track, Must Be the Money, releasing a polished remix layered over Yella Beezy's modern beat. That version was intentional, produced, and celebratory, a reminder that Primetime has always understood branding long before branding became a buzzword. In the video, he danced in overalls and a hat, fully embracing the larger-than-life persona that once made him a two-sport icon and now fuels his success as one of the most polarizing figures in college football. The lyrics blended defiance and self-validation, touching on decades of criticism, perceived disrespect, and the resilience required to thrive under constant scrutiny. He rapped about being hated, doubted, and undervalued, yet still standing at the center of the spotlight, unfazed by fame because fame had never been foreign to him. He tied that confidence directly into his coaching resume, referencing his transformational run at Jackson State and the bold, controversial move that followed, bringing his family, his staff, and his unapologetic approach to Colorado, reshaping not just a program but the national conversation around it. In that context, music became another extension of Deion Sanders' storytelling, a medium through which he reinforces control over his image and legacy. The freestyle aimed at Shilo, however, landed differently. It arrived at a moment when Shilo's football future is anything but certain. After going undrafted, he signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a free agent, chasing the narrowest of NFL paths, only to see that opportunity slip away before the regular season began. His preseason stint ended abruptly following a turbulent game against the Buffalo Bills, where emotions boiled over and he was ejected for throwing a punch at tight end Zach Davidson. The incident became a flashpoint, not just for evaluators questioning his discipline, but for critics already skeptical of whether any Sanders sibling could fully separate their identity from their father's shadow. Shortly after, Tampa Bay waived him, officially closing the door on that chapter. Shilo addressed the situation with a measured tone, emphasizing that his focus had remained on football and acknowledging the reality of being released. Rather than lashing out or deflecting blame, he leaned on faith, framing the setback as part of a larger journey rather than a definitive ending. That perspective matters because Shilo's path has never been as linear or celebrated as those of his brothers. While Shadur's rise has been dissected on national television and Deion's coaching decisions dominate headlines, Shilo has often existed in the quieter margins, grinding for opportunities without the same level of hype or protection. His comments following the Buccaneers' release hinted at a broader self-awareness, an understanding that football, while central to his identity, may not be the only avenue through which he defines success. He spoke openly about staying in contact with his agent, waiting to see if another NFL door opens, but also acknowledged that his talents extend beyond the field. It was a mature reflection, one that suggested growth rather than bitterness, even as the weight of expectations continues to loom. Against that backdrop, Deion's rap felt less like comedy and more like pressure, a public reminder that in the Sanders family, motivation often comes wrapped in confrontation. Deion Sanders has always believed in toughness, accountability, and mental edge, values forged during an era when vulnerability was rarely rewarded. His approach to parenting, particularly in the public eye, reflects that same philosophy. He pushes, provokes, and challenges, sometimes crossing into discomfort, because he believes greatness is born there. Whether that approach helps or hinders Shilo remains an open question, one that only time will answer. What is clear is that Deion Sanders remains fully committed to controlling the narrative, even when it involves his own children, even when it risks public backlash. In many ways, the rap encapsulated everything that makes the Sanders saga so compelling and polarizing. It was confidence bordering on arrogance, humor laced with cruelty, and love expressed through challenge rather than comfort. It highlighted the tension between legacy and individuality, between a father who conquered every stage he touched and a son still searching for his footing. As Shilo waits for his next opportunity, whether in the NFL or beyond, his father continues to dominate headlines, reminding the world that prime time doesn't fade quietly. The contrast is stark, almost cinematic. One Sanders fighting to stay relevant in a league that offers no guarantees, another effortlessly reclaiming attention with a phone camera and a beat. Somewhere between those realities lies the truth of their relationship, complicated, public, and deeply human, shaped by faith, ambition, and the relentless expectations that come with a famous name. That tension is ultimately what defines this chapter of the Sanders story. For Shilo, every workout, every phone call from his agent, every day spent waiting is a reminder that the NFL is ruthless, indifferent to last names and viral moments. Opportunity comes quietly, and it leaves even faster. For Deion, the spotlight has never required permission. He commands it instinctively, whether through coaching soundbites, social media sermons, or improvised rap verses that blur the line between motivation and provocation. The freestyle wasn't just about Shilo, it was about reaffirming hierarchy, about reinforcing that prime time still sits at the center of the Sanders universe. And yet, beneath the bravado, there's an unspoken challenge being issued. Prove you're more than my son. Prove you can endure embarrassment, criticism, and doubt without breaking. If Shilo does get another chance, whether on an NFL roster or in an entirely different lane, it will come with scars for moments like this, moments where love was delivered publicly and harshly. In that sense, the rap wasn't an ending or a joke. It was another test, another uncomfortable push forward in a family where greatness has always come with a price.